Last year, LG debuted the world's largest ultra-wide monitor, a 38-inch behemoth that totally dwarfed even the 34-inch ultra-wides we'd been used to seeing before that. And it had the market entirely to itself. There was nothing else like it until now. This is Dell's UltraSharp 38-inch widescreen monitor. Exact same size as that LG, but it does come in at a little bit of a lower price and has a few other things that sort of differentiate itself from that original LG. So should you go with the newcomer or stick with the original? Now, as said, this is an UltraSharp monitor. That means something particular in Dell's product lineup. UltraSharps are really meant for professionals. They're high-end displays for discerning buyers, and that means they go for more of a professional look. Dell's 38-inch ultra-wide looks somewhat unremarkable. It has a lot of dark gray and black to it. It's a very sort of buttoned-down look, but that's what it's going for, and some people will, I think, appreciate that. It contrasts to the LG, which is a lot more in your face. It has a very stark white modern look, which is also great. Maybe if you were putting it in your home, you would prefer the LG. But this Dell, it's really meant for enthusiasts and for workstation users and professionals who want the monitor to sort of blend in a little bit more, although that's kind of hard when you're talking about a 38-inch ultra-wide. Now, aside from the look, this monitor has a great stand. It has a VESA mount compatibility, so you can pick another one if you want to, but this one does have swivel, height adjustments, and tilt adjustments. So that's a pretty good array right there. Most people will be happy with that. Now, the port situation includes 2 HDMI and a display port for your inputs. There's also a variety of USB options so that you can connect other devices or use this as a USB hub if you want. One sort of minor downside is that all the ports are on the back and facing downward, and one thing that I noted in the stand adjustments is that there's no pivot adjustment, so that you can't very easily sort of move this display on its side to connect new devices. It's a minor complaint, but it can be a little hard to unplug and plug in various other monitors and USB devices. Now, you don't have the adjust options on a monitor very often, but when you do have to do that, you want it to be convenient, and the menus on this display are great. They're logically arranged with very simple labels on all the different options. The buttons feel great, and there's none of that touch button nonsense here. No joysticks, nothing funny. It's just simple tactile buttons that work very well. Now, for those of you who are more discerning about your colors, you will be happy to know that there are some color calibration options that are built right into the display menus, so you can do things like adjust color hue and saturation right on the monitor. Of course, none of that would matter very much if the display didn't look great, but fortunately it does have excellent image quality. It's a 38-inch display and ultra-wide, so that's going to look very impressive at a glance, but on closer inspection, you'll notice it also has a very sharp image. Its resolution is 3840 by 1600, and that's as high as you're going to find on an ultra-wide display. In addition to the excellent resolution, the display has very high color accuracy and also excellent color gamut, up to 99% of sRGB, so that's great, and that's going to be very important to photographers and other professionals working with very detailed image quality. However, the display does have a just okay contrast ratio of 640:1, and that does sap a little bit of vibrancy from images. So overall, image quality is very good. It puts a priority on accuracy over vividness. So it doesn't look like the most eye-catching image, but what is there looks the way that it really should, especially in terms of color. Now, that means that for both entertainment and professional use, it's a very enjoyable monitor. There is one thing you should note, though, if you're thinking about gaming, and that is that the monitor does not have FreeSync support. So you can't use AMD's FreeSync with an AMD video card. There's also no G-Sync support. The LG monitor, this one's competitor, does have FreeSync support. And that's a big sticking point for gamers. And in fact, it's going to be one of the biggest points of differentiation between the two, because other than that, the image is basically the same between the LG and the Dell. Now, Dell includes a 3-year warranty with its display, and it includes Premier support, which means that if Dell decides the monitor has a problem, they'll actually ship you a replacement monitor before they receive your return, which is very handy. Of course, a computer without a monitor is not really a whole lot of use. That stands in contrast to LG, which has a really weak warranty. It only has a 1-year warranty and it doesn't offer that sort of premier service. So if you're spending a lot of money on a high-end 38-inch monitor, that's something you might want to think about before making your purchase. So overall, Dell's 38-inch UltraSharp UltraWide monitor is an excellent pick for professionals. It has very good color accuracy, very good color gamut. The contrast is just okay, but still good enough for that sort of work. It's also pretty good for home entertainment, or if you just want to impress your friends with a huge monitor. The contrast is a little bit of a downside there, but for the most part, it looks great in all sorts of content. 21:9 movies are going to look awesome on this screen. The only issue there is gamers might be disappointed by the lack of FreeSync support. Now, this brings us to the big point, and that's the price. This Dell goes for $1150 at most online retailers right now. That's a lot of money. That's more than most people spend on a high-definition television, but LG's monitor goes for $1,700 right now. That's actually $200 more than the price at launch, which was $1,500. So that's a big gap. And as mentioned, in a lot of ways, the two monitors are very similar. So if you have to pick between them, we'd really recommend that you go for the Dell.